Great pleasure to welcome our next guest. He's been with us several times before on the radio with us. Great prolific sports writer and author. Got a brand new book out called Moment of Glory, The Year Underdogs Ruled Golf. We're joined now by John Feinstein by telephone today. And John, good to talk to you again. How you been?
Doug, I've been well. How are you?
I'm doing great. Good to have you with us again. Always look forward to when pretty much every year you have a book come out. Always great to have you on. And I guess you're always busy behind the computer, aren't you?
Well, I'm very lucky that I get to do something I love doing, and this is my 26th book now, so I've been doing it a long time, and I still get just as excited about each one as I did when I wrote the first one back in 1986, Season on the Brink. So I'm very fortunate, and this one was really a lot of fun because it does not really revolve around any of golf superstars, although it begins, ironically enough, with Tiger Woods firing a swing coach, Butch Harmon, back in 2002, because that decision really opened the door for these guys to have their chance at glory in 2003, and that's what the book's about.
You talk about guys like Mike Weir, Jim Furyk, Ben Curtis, and Sean McKeel, right?
Right, exactly. And, you know, the idea for the book, Doug, came to me originally walking down the 10th fairway at Augusta during the playoff in the 2003 Masters between Mike Weir and Len Matisse. Both were guys I knew pretty well. And as I was watching them, it occurred to me that in the next 10, 15 minutes, their lives were going to go in completely opposite directions. One was going to be a Masters champion and get everything that comes with that. As Mike said to me later, it's as if your full name becomes Masters champion Mike Weir for the rest of your life. And the other, in this case Len, was going to be left to wonder, you know, if I'd made one more putt, if I'd hit one less wayward drive, how would my life be different? And it occurred to me that those moments occur every now and then in sports with guys who aren't superstars, who have that one chance to become part of history. And Mike was able to do it. Len was not. And then as it turned out, throughout that year, Jim Furyk was a very established player but had never won a major. And then in the British Open, Ben Curtis, who had never played at a major championship before, became the first player since Francis Ouimet in 1913 to win a major in his first try. And then Sean McKeel, who'd never won on the PGA Tour in his life, won the PGA Championship. So I thought there was a really nice collection of stories to be told about sudden fame and how you deal with it. And I think I was right, because the guys were very cooperative and I thought had really fascinating stories to tell.
Yeah, I thought it was about Ben Curtis. You mentioned him winning the British, and after that, and I know he had some health issues too. I don't know if you talk about it in the book or not, but he just kind of fell off the map there. Was that a case of too much too soon, or was it the health issue that kind of kept him out of the
Well, what really happened with Ben, I think you're thinking of Sean with the health issues, because he had shoulder surgery and had a testosterone issue right at a time when the tour was starting to crack down with drug testing, and even though he had a legitimate problem for a while, they wouldn't let him take the pill he needed to take. But what happened with Ben is very interesting, because, as I said, literally there were guys on the tour who didn't even know who he was. He was a rookie. He played on the Hooters tour in 2002, which isn't even AAA ball, it's AA ball. And wins the British Open out of nowhere. As Jim Furyk said, I couldn't have picked Ben Curtis out of the lineup prior to that week. And then the following Monday, he's on Letterman. And his agents convinced him to try to play both in Europe and the United States, since he had exemptions to play on both tours, to chase the money. And Ben, for 2 years, did that and played very poorly, and finally walked back in and said, I'm not doing this anymore. I'm just going to play here in the United States. This is where I belong. I'm over-traveled. I'm overtired. And in 2006, he won 2 tournaments and really kind of made a comeback and was on the Ryder Cup team in 2008.
Mike Weir is another one, of course, one of the few left-handed golfers to ever win a major, and has been around, but after he won the Masters, he kind of fell off a little bit. Did you talk about that?
Right. Yeah, he really struggled. In fact, he tells a funny story about getting to the Masters in 2004 as the defending champion, and he was playing poorly, and he went to the range on Tuesday afternoon to really try to work on his game. And Tuesday night every year at the Masters, they have a past champions dinner, and the host is the current champion. And he looked at his watch about 6:30 and went, oh, my God, I'm hosting this dinner in half an hour. I got to get inside, get a shower, get ready for dinner. He runs into the champions' locker room, which, of course, is very exclusive. Only champions use that locker room. but it's also very small, and there's only one shower in it. So he walks in there looking for a shower. Well, Tom Watson's in the shower, and Jack Nicklaus and Arnold Palmer are waiting for the shower. So he said, well, I couldn't exactly shoulder my way past Nicklaus and Palmer, so I had to wait my turn to take my shower and then worry about his golf game later. But you're right, he did struggle. He went 4 years without a win. He finally did win again at the end of 2007. And he's been very up and down, changed his swing, changed his teachers, as golfers do.
And I think not many people realize how big a star he is in Canada, right? I mean, he's almost up there with Gretzky, isn't he?
Yeah, you're absolutely right, because first Canadian to ever win a major championship of any kind. And he tells the story about the day after he won the Masters. He had a prior commitment to go to a Sears store in Toronto to make an appearance the day after the Masters, not knowing that he was going to be there as the Masters champion. And he said he was going down an escalator in this mall to go and make this appearance, and he saw this line of people, for as far as the eye could see. And he turned to the person he was with and said, "What's that all about?" And the guy said, "Mike, that's all about you. They're all here to see you. You're a national hero now." And because Canada has such, its population is so much smaller than ours, those who do become stars become megastars. I mean, he is Canada's golfer, and every time he plays in the Canadian Open up there, it's like a major championship for him.
Yeah, not too many golfers came out of Canada. I guess Mo Norman, probably the other big name, right?
Mo Norman, George Knudson was a good player out of there. There have been a few others who've had some success, but nobody who had won a major championship, as I said, until Mike did it at the Masters in 2003.
They talk about Jim Furyk, for the listeners, just to give you an idea. If you haven't seen him much, he's got that real looping swing, but he's got it so grooved, it works for him. Very unusual style, but it's worked for him over the years, hasn't it?
Yeah, exactly. His dad was his teacher, and when I talked to his dad, he said, a lot of people said, "Why don't you change Jim's swing? It's so funny looking." And his answer has always been, as long as he gets back to the ball in position, I don't care what he does in between. And Jim has always been able to repeat his swing and hit the ball very solidly. He's won 15 times on the tour, including that 2003 U.S. Open. The funny story about Jim in the Open is Jim always, if you listen to Jim talk, he'll say, no matter what else I do, my name will always be on the U.S. Open trophy. Well, that's not as simple as it sounds, because when Jim was given the trophy in 2003 after winning, the guy from the USGA who put it in his car for him said to him, "By the way, you have to get it engraved." And Jim thought he was joking. He said, "Yeah, right, I have to get the trophy engraved." He gets home, takes the trophy out, looks at it, and sure enough, the last name on the trophy is Tiger Woods 2002, because Tiger had won the year before. And he went, "My God, they weren't kidding. I have to get the trophy engraved." And he said he had this notion that he could go walking around in a mall looking for a kiosk with the Open trophy, and then stand there and go, F-U-R-Y-K. But I just can't imagine the fact that each guy has to go out and get the Open trophy engraved himself.
I don't know. That's a great story. Yeah, talking with John Feinstein. The name of the book is Moment of Glory, and you mentioned earlier where the book kind of picks up where Tiger fires Butch Harmon this week. I don't know if you want to say he fired Hank Haney or if he resigned, but your thoughts on that?
Well, that's the funny thing. I've been joking with people because the book came out on Thursday that Tiger probably fired Hank this week just to give the book a boost.
That's right.
So it gives me something to talk about. But the irony, the difference is, of course, when he fired Butch in 2002, he had won 7 of the previous 11 majors, and yet was still looking for something new, something different. Well, that something new and different was Hank Haney eventually. Now, with his life a mess, he's really looking for something new and something different. I don't think the answer is in a new swing coach. I think there's a lot more to what's going on in Tiger's life. I'm not saying he doesn't need help with his swing. He probably does. But I think that's just one aspect where he needs help. And firing Hank Haney, for all we know, might just be a first step. There might be some other shoes still to drop before this is all over.